Hey, and welcome back to Unqualified Critics. David here talking to you about a brand new announcement from iiRcade. iiRcade is really a startup in the home arcade space. Unlike At Games and even Arcade One Up, they were both backed by companies that have been around for a while. They weren't doing arcades, but they were doing other things and licensing or gaming related. iiRcade is entirely new, and I have to be honest, I mentioned this before, when they first announced at CES, I wasn't sure what to make of it. My view is that it'd be very hard to break into this space to convince publishers to give you access to their games, and just generally tough to compete with the Legends Ultimate and the Arcade One Up offerings. Complaints, many of which that I've had over the years. Overall, I think they do a fairly good job satisfying the market. But since then, I've changed my tune. I mean, they've redesigned their product. I did a video on that recently, and I'll put a link to it up above in a card if you want to access that. And that redesign has proven very popular. They've also gone, I think, pretty value oriented with their offering for the product. They're giving us some pretty high end hardware, far beyond what we get with the Legends Ultimate or Arcade One Up, especially. And yet the price isn't all that bad. $600 for a self contained cabinet. Now it's bar top. You got to pay extra for the stand under it, but just for that to sit on your table or your home bar, this is starting to look pretty compelling. And of course, they're going to have that $300 early bird pricing if you get on Kickstarter. That has not been announced yet, so we have no news there, but it is coming soon and it'll be a limited quantity. So if you get in on it, you'll want to move quickly. So, with all of that said, the piece of puzzle that still remains, and many of you have said this in the comments, and I completely agree. Will they be able to get the games that people are interested in? Well, this latest move, this news, suggests that they're making a huge step in that direction. It's not definitive yet, but they're definitely moving in the right way. And they seem to have some serious money behind them because this hire that's going to help them with licensing, I'm sure, cost a great deal of money. Bottom line, iiRcade has hired, and I don't know how to pronounce the name. Don't even know if it's a he or a she, so I'm not going to try to butcher this name, but you can see it here. I guess I will try to butcher it. Minchik Rowe, I don't know, probably wrong, but has worked previously as vice president of Sony PlayStation. It's a big deal because the gaming community is like any insular community. People know each other. Deals are made or at least started based on who you know. And the fact that this person has a very legitimate name behind them and iiRcade now is harnessing that speaks volumes that iiRcade will be able to license a lot of the games that they're seeking to license. It also suggests that they're really lining this up as more of an ongoing platform play. That's the big distinction between the Legends Ultimate and the Arcade One Up, by the way. Legends Ultimate guys, including their CEO, talks about their product as another pillar, basically in addition to the console that you would already own. iiRcade seems to be going that direction already because you can download multiple games onto the cabinet. And it's something you would buy once and then they would monetize over time because you would buy more and more games for the cab and really build out an ecosystem. There's no ecosystem around the Arcade One Up other than maybe hardware accessories you'd buy. And I'm not saying one approach or the other is better or worse. I see merit in both. And honestly, I'm really glad we have this level of competition. But with this announcement, it does look like iiRcade is entering the fray as a serious player. They're putting real money behind this. And somebody wouldn't leave Sony, a company as big and established as they are, for something unless they really saw a spark in it and believe that there could be a huge new pillar of gaming with a home arcade like iiRcade. Rowe will be responsible for licensing game content and partnerships. So, as I'm saying, this person's role is really, I think, about proof of concept that this arcade is here to stay and that they're a serious player and that they're somebody that publishers should take seriously to push games to them. Rowe previously worked on platform planning, new business entry strategy, and execution through immersive technologies and ecosystem. Now, without knowing specifics about this person, that could include things like PlayStation VR. The specifics aren't that important. Really, what we're saying is this person has worked on breaking new ground with new opportunities before rather than just somebody who oversaw the same 17 different Uncharted sequels. And I think that's probably a good move. That's the kind of person you would want if you're running a company that's new from the ground up. And the home arcade space, even though we've all been following it in some cases for a couple years, does remain relatively new. I'm thrilled to work with the very talented people at iiRcade, said Rowe. It's exciting to be launching this impressive new gaming platform and will bring the fully immersive arcade experience into homes. Unlike other arcade devices, iiRcade is not limited to a few preloaded games. New games can be purchased and downloaded via online store. Software upgrades will be made available to the platform. This is interesting because the Legends Ultimate promised new games being able to be downloaded. They've not yet delivered, but I do believe it's still in their pipeline, and it's part of that ArcadeNet service. And even Arcade One Up is getting into the remote software upgrade game with the virtual pinball tables, including a Wi-Fi connection explicitly for firmware updates. So we're going to start to see, I think, a little bit of a melding or merging of the strategies of these arcade companies. It's important that they all stay unique and different and kind of stay in their lane so we have a reason to buy these various cabinets. A lot of you, like me, own an ALU, but you also own some Arcade One-Ups. They want to be differentiated. But different companies are going to go out and try different things first. Like new game downloads is happening, it looks like, first with iiRcade. If that's a big success, you can bet the Legends Ultimate will offer it. And I wouldn't be completely shocked if Arcade One Up someday offers it. Imagine if they sold you the base Golden Tee cabinet with 4 Golden Tee games, but they give you the option to buy 2 more Golden Tee games that you can download and expand your cabinet. Not making it a total multicade, but giving it some expansion and creating more revenue opportunities. iiRcade, bottom line, I think, is emerging as a serious player between the hardware redesign, which looks really cool, and the specs that we're getting. I know the founder of iiRcade likes to talk about the experience, not the specs, and I get that, and I agree with that to a point. But the specs enable the experience, and a big 19-inch monitor, a beefy processor so that you can play modern games or even potentially more demanding retro games. Like, let's not forget, there's a whole class of arcade games from the 90s and early 2000s that are not at present being offered on any of these platforms, Legends Ultimate or Arcade One Up. Think like Sega's Naomi board or custom boards Nintendo did for Killer Instinct. That stuff isn't being played at home right now in a licensed cabinet. If iiRcade can offer that in this really sleek form factor, then they'll have a lot on their hands. The key will be if they can get the game publishers to line up and provide them the games. It sounds like with this hire, they're one step closer. And actually, before I go, I do want to dig in just a little bit more with Minchik Rowe. Super apologies if I'm messing that name up. But here's his background. So he did work on virtual reality, as I posited. Vice President, Sony Interactive Entertainment. Worked in VR, MR, I think MR is mixed reality, advanced product and service planning. Before that, he came from Sony Mobile, was VP and head of business and partner development. So he has a history of cultivating partnerships, but the gaming history, specifically VR, not because of the technology behind VR, but because VR was a new platform that he probably had to go out and sell to the community of publishers to get them excited to back it. And we do have some cool games behind VR. I don't own a PlayStation myself, more of an Xbox guy. So I'll be honest, I'm not totally up to speed on PlayStation VR, but my understanding it is basically a success. I did play Resident Evil 7 on it. That was awesome. And I'm sure convincing Capcom to invest in that experience took some doing. So this all looks very exciting. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Are you in for this? Are you looking for the iiRcade? The $300 early bird price point, I'm not even going to ask because that's probably at cost. So I'm not going to ask if that's a good price. I know it's a good price. But the retail pricing of $5.99, what do you guys think about that? Is that something you might put on your list this holiday? Let me know. If you enjoyed the video, hit like. If you're watching our videos and enjoying them, please, I would invite you to subscribe and enable all notifications so you stay posted. Talk to you guys later.
Dripping lights paint the sky.